I never thought my wife would cheat on me, let alone with the security guard of her office building. Sounds like a bad Netflix drama, right? But trust me, I lived it. No kids, solid marriage, or so I thought, and 10 years of loyalty on my end. Meanwhile, she was sneaking off during lunch breaks to meet a guy whose biggest life goal was probably changing light bulbs in stairwells. It all started with a few late nights at work. Then the office parties I wasn't invited to. And when I finally caught her, not just lying, but in the act, in the backseat of a car with her uniformed boy toy, my world flipped upside down. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was how she reacted, like I was the problem. This is the story of how I lost my wife, found the truth, and ended up turning heartbreak into something I never saw coming. I never thought I'd be posting something like this here. I always figured these stories were exaggerated or missing key context, until it happened to me. Now I'm the guy sitting at his kitchen table at 3 a.m., typing with shaking hands and an empty bed behind him. Call me Mark. I'm 34. My soon-to-be ex-wife is Emily, 31. No kids, decent careers, nice apartment in the city, 2 cats, and what I thought was a pretty solid marriage. We'd been together 8 years, married for 5. It wasn't perfect, but it was home. Emily works in HR for a corporate office downtown. They have a security staff in the building, and I guess that's where this entire nightmare started. It began subtly, like most betrayals do. A few months ago, she started mentioning this guy named Chris during casual conversation. Chris said the elevators have been acting up, or Chris helped me carry some stuff from the parking lot today. I didn't think anything of it at first. She's friendly, bubbly, overly chatty by nature. I chalked it up to her being her. Then she started taking more taxis to work, even when I offered to drive her. She said parking was a hassle. Fair. The city is a mess. But something felt off. She started leaving earlier, coming home later. Said she was staying after hours to help with onboarding. Suddenly, she was glued to her phone, always giggling at texts, then quickly locking the screen if I got too close. Our intimacy, both emotional and physical, started to fade. I asked if something was wrong. She said I was being insecure. Gaslight level, expert. I didn't want to push. I've always trusted her, maybe too much. But the gut feeling, that damn gut feeling, just wouldn't go away. The weirdest thing? She started dressing differently. Not provocatively. Just deliberately. New perfume. Tighter skirts. And she started doing her makeup in the car mirror when she thought I wasn't looking. Still, I told myself not to be that guy. The paranoid husband. But that's exactly who I should have been. It all came crashing down on a Tuesday. I'll never forget the date, April 9th. That was the day my life split into a before and after. Emily texted me that morning. Working late again. Don't wait up, yellow heart. I replied with a thumbs up emoji. Truth is, I was already halfway numb to her excuses. But something that day finally snapped in me. Maybe it was the way she didn't even bother to add a believable detail. Maybe it was the yellow heart, not red. Not blue. Like she was flirting with someone who wasn't me and forgot which emoji belonged to who. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I followed her. I knew what time she usually left the office, so I parked a block away and waited. I saw her exit the building around 6:50 p.m., all dolled up, clutching her phone, smiling at the screen. She stood under the streetlight for a few minutes until a black taxi pulled up. She got in the back. I waited until the taxi rolled past and pulled out behind it, staying 2 cars back. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for. Just proof I wasn't crazy. That my gut wasn't lying to me. The taxi turned off the main road and into a quiet side street near a small park. That's when I saw it, the security guy. Chris. He walked up, glanced around like a damn cartoon villain, then opened the door, and got into the back seat. With her. They didn't waste time. I couldn't hear them, but the movement was obvious, close. Touching. Her head on his shoulder. Then her lips on his. Full on making out like teenagers in a bad movie. In the backseat of a damn taxi. My wife. With the building's security guard. My heart didn't just sink, it collapsed. I took a picture. One single, shaky photo with my phone, hand trembling, mouth dry. I don't know why I did it. Proof, maybe. For myself. For the lawyers I hadn't yet considered. I didn't confront them. Not yet. I drove home in a daze, parked the car, and sat in silence for hours, just existing. She came home around 10:15 p.m. Hair slightly messy. Makeup faded. She gave me a quick peck on the cheek, like nothing happened. "You still up?" she said casually, tossing her bag on the couch. I nodded, staring at her, wondering how long she'd been lying to me. "Sorry, long onboarding meeting," she added. "Super boring." I said nothing. Because tomorrow, I was going to burn it all down. The next morning, I woke up before her. I didn't sleep much, but I didn't need to. Rage makes a surprisingly strong substitute for rest. Emily shuffled into the kitchen wearing my hoodie, yawning like she hadn't just come home from screwing another man hours before. I had her coffee ready. Just how she likes it. Vanilla creamer, extra hot. "You're in a good mood," she said. I didn't smile. I just slid my phone across the counter. She picked it up and glanced at the screen. The photo. Her. Chris. The kiss. The goddamn backseat. She froze. Blinked once. Then set the phone down like it was radioactive. "Where did you get this? Why does it matter?" I said quietly. "You going to tell me that's not you?" She actually had the gall to scoff. "Are you stalking me now?" My jaw tightened. "I asked you to be honest." 4 weeks, I've asked. You lied. Over and over. She crossed her arms. "Oh my God, Mark, it's not what it looks like." I laughed, actually laughed. That line? Really? In 2025, we are still using "it's not what it looks like." Then she snapped. Full meltdown. "You've been cold for months. You don't compliment me anymore. You come home from work and sit on the couch like a zombie. Chris actually talks to me. He makes me feel appreciated." I stared at her. "So you cheat? In a taxi? With a guy whose job is to wave people into elevators?" She slapped the counter. "Don't disrespect him like that. At least he notices me." "You mean the way I used to, before you stopped even looking at me?" I shot back. She grabbed her bag, muttering under her breath. "Where are you going?" I asked. "Out," she said. "I need space." "You're suffocating me." "Space," I repeated. "Funny. You had plenty of space in the backseat last night." Her eyes narrowed. "You're unbelievable." "No," I said. "I'm just done." After she stormed out, I sat in silence. No TV. No phone. Just the slow, humming realization that the life I thought I had was gone. I called a divorce lawyer the next morning. No games. No long speeches. Just. My wife cheated on me. I have proof. I want out. The lawyer didn't even flinch. I guess stories like mine are a dime a dozen these days. I served her papers a few days later. And that's when she turned up the theatrics. Crying. Screaming. Hysterics. You're throwing everything away over one mistake. 1. Emily, it's been months. We were having problems. I was lonely. And instead of talking to me, you decided to turn our marriage into a side quest. She told her friends I was emotionally abusive. Said I controlled her, isolated her, and manipulated her. One of her coworkers even DM'd me on Instagram to tell me I was trash. Meanwhile, she was still seeing Chris, openly now. They were posting cryptic selfies. Sunsets. Shoes next to each other. Coffee cups with initials. And the worst part? She blocked me before I could even see them. I found out through mutual friends. But the real kicker? She had the audacity to ask if we could pause the divorce to talk. What was there left to say? A week after filing the papers, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Hey. You don't know me, but I work in Emily's building. You deserve to know something. Turns out, Chris wasn't just some random security guy she flirted with on slow nights. They'd been sleeping together for over a year, and everyone in the building apparently knew. Everyone but me? According to this guy, let's call him Ben, Emily used to sneak down during lunch breaks. They'd make out in the security room. Sometimes even disappear for elevator inspections. One time, Chris even bragged about hooking up in the stairwell during office hours. I was sick. Physically nauseous. She didn't just betray me emotionally, she paraded it around like a sick joke, and I was the punchline. That same night, I got a call from my landlord. Apparently, Chris had shown up at our place the day after I served her papers, claiming he was picking up stuff for Emily. He tried to get inside. Tried to use the spare key we kept under the planter. Except I'd already removed it. The landlord confronted him and threatened to call the cops if he didn't leave. So, yeah. The guy my wife cheated on me with tried to break into our house. The same house where I used to bring Emily coffee in bed on Sundays. The same couch where we binge-watched terrible reality shows and talked about Sunday kids and growing old together. I changed all the locks that night. And then I booked a solo weekend trip to a cabin 2 hours out of town. Because I needed to breathe. The cabin was quiet. No service. No notifications. No drama. Just wind in the trees and the occasional squirrel judging me from the porch. I brought a journal with me. I hadn't written in years. But something about the fresh air, the distance, the silence, it cracked me open. And I wrote everything. The betrayal. The lies. The backseat. The gaslighting. The security guard. I didn't filter a word. I just let it spill. Page after page. By the time I came back home Sunday night, I had over 30 handwritten pages of pain, rage, clarity, and something new, acceptance. A friend of mine, a freelance writer, read it. He said, "Mark, this isn't just therapy. This is a story." He helped me polish it. Just for fun, we submitted it anonymously to a few online publications. One bit. Then another. 2 weeks later, a major digital magazine published it. The headline? My wife cheated on me with a security guard, and tried to blame me for it. It went viral. Comments flooded in. DMS, emails. People relating. People thanking me for putting into words what they had lived in silence. And then, something insane happened. A publisher reached out. They wanted to option the story for a collection of essays about modern relationships and betrayal. They offered me an advance. A real one. Suddenly, I wasn't just the guy who got cheated on. I was the guy who turned his pain into profit. Emily, of course, found out. She emailed me, said I was humiliating her, that I twisted the truth. I didn't reply. She made her choices. Now I was making mine. The book deal went through. It wasn't millions, not yet, but it was enough to pay off my car, take a trip, and open a small creative studio I'd always dreamed of. People started recognizing the story. A few podcasts even asked me to come on anonymously. Every time I told it, I felt lighter. Like each retelling peeled away another layer of bitterness and left clarity underneath. Meanwhile, Emily? Still with Chris, last I heard. But that flame was flickering fast. A mutual friend said they've been fighting, something about Chris getting caught texting someone else. Shocking. Truly. And the best part? I stopped caring. No more checking her socials. No more wondering what she's doing. No more playing the what-if game in my head. She was a chapter. A dramatic, painful, necessary chapter. But I've turned the page. One night, I sat down and wrote this last post. Not out of bitterness, not for revenge clicks, but for someone who might be in the place I was not long ago. So if that's you, if you're sitting there reading this, broken, humiliated, maybe even blaming yourself. Don't. Her lies don't define you. His betrayal doesn't own you. Your heartbreak is real, but so is your healing. You might have lost someone. But they lost someone too. You. And if they could lie, cheat, and gaslight someone like you, they never deserved you to begin with. Trust me, life doesn't end after betrayal. Sometimes, it just starts.